Hey guys! Recently, Ideogram released their open-weight image generation model, Ideogram 4. Unlike other image generation models we have seen before, this model requires you to feed it a Json prompt. It also uses bbox values to determine the placement of objects in the output image, which is a fantastic feature. In this video, I will show you my 3-step workflow for taming this 9.3b model. This tutorial assumes that you already know where to download Ideogram and its related models, where to place them in comfyui, and that you have a basic understanding of how to use this model. So, let's get started. I have linked the 3-step workflow I built for Ideogram 4 in the description below, so feel free to download it. Now, let's jump in and start understanding how to use this workflow. So, the first step is converting our normal prompts into a JSON prompt. For that, we have this group called Initial JSON Prompt Builder. In the Initial Prompt subgraph node, we can type the standard prompts we use for other image generation models. Let's change the current prompt. I have a lot of prompts written in my notepad, so let's copy one of them. Let's use this one of a woman sleeping on a bed and paste it inside the initial prompt field. If the prompts are short, we can enhance them. To enhance the prompt, turn the Enhance Prompt switch to True. For prompt enhancement, I will be using the Gemma 4 E4BFP8 model, though you can also use Qwen 3.54b. Then we have the temperature, which sets the creativity of the model. I will set it to 0.6. If you want to increase the creativity, increase the temperature, but keep in mind that there is a chance of deviation from the prompt we provided for enhancement. Therefore, I suggest using a lower temperature. Then, let's change the seed value. Now, let's enhance the prompt. Select this Enhanced Prompt node and click on the small play button. So, here is our enhanced prompt. Now it's time to turn this into a JSON prompt. For that, we use the JSON Prompt Builder node. Select the node and run it. You will see a block of text combined with our enhanced prompt. Copy this text using the copy button. We now need to feed this into a larger parameter model capable of generating high-quality JSON. If your computer can handle high-parameter models locally, feel free to use them, or you can use Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok instead. In my case, I am going to use Gemini. Let's switch over, paste the text, and press Enter. After a few seconds, we get our JSON prompt. With the first step finished, let's move into the second step, refining this JSON prompt. Copy the output, head back to comfyui, and go to the second group called Refine JSON Prompt. Let's paste the JSON prompt we just copied into the Input Your JSON Prompt node. Now, we can refine the JSON prompt using the Ideogram 4 Prompt Builder KJ node from the comfyui KJ node's custom node pack. Let's load the JSON prompt into the node by selecting the Preview as Text node and clicking the small play button. And here we go. The JSON prompt is now loaded into the Ideogram 4 Prompt Builder KJ node. If you don't want to use the Ideogram 4 Prompt Builder KJ node, you can set this switch to false. Now, let's get a basic understanding of this node. First, we have the image input for loading a reference image, which is useful for adjusting the placement of objects and texts. Next, we have the import JSON input for loading existing JSON prompts, which is what we used for loading JSON prompt into the node. Then we have the bboxes option. Remember, a lot of features are frequently added to this node by the developer. This was a recent addition I haven't used much, so I'm going to skip it. Be aware that this node changes often, so it may look different in the future than it does in this video. Now, regarding width and height, these set the canvas size of the editor shown at the bottom of the node. These dimensions should match the output resolution of the image you're trying to generate. Otherwise, the placement of objects might not match your expectations. In my case, I am using a square resolution of 1024. Next, we have the high-level description text box. This is where we write an overall description of the output image. Then, we have the background text box where we describe the scene behind our subjects or objects. Next is the Style drop-down menu for choosing between photo and art style. For realistic images, use photo. For other mediums, use art style. Since I'm aiming for realism, I will select photo. When you select photo, you get a photo text box to input keywords related to camera, shot type, or lens details. Then, we have the aesthetics text box. Put keywords here related to the look of your image. Is it cinematic, moody, or desaturated? From my experience, don't use sentences. Using keywords separated by commas works much better. Next is lighting, where we describe the light and shadow details. Then, we have the medium text box here. Define the medium that your output image falls under. For a photograph, type photograph. If you are generating graphic design-related images, type graphic_design. Note the underscore between graphic and design. For an oil painting, type painting. Or you can experiment with other mediums like comic or 3D render depending on your needs. In my case, I am going to use photograph. Then we have the style palette data, which decides the overall color combinations for the output. Here, you input the hex codes for the colors. You don't need to type these manually. Instead, use the style colors option. Right now, there are 3 colors added. So, using the plus sign, we can add more colors. For right now, I'm going to stick with these 3. Then, we have the Elements Data text box, where we type the details of the objects or text we want to appear in our output image. To make it easier to add or edit this data, we have this editor at the bottom. Right now, there are 2 objects added, which appear as rectangles containing their descriptions. They are currently in the wrong position, so we can adjust the scale and placement of both rectangles. In my case, a woman is sleeping on a bed, so we'll place the bed in the bottom right corner and the woman on top of it. When we resize these rectangles, the Ideogram 4 prompt builder node automatically updates the bbox values of the corresponding objects in our JSON prompt. So adjust the rectangle size and position according to your needs. The editor also makes it easy to edit individual object descriptions. Just select the rectangle you want to edit, and under the Type Object Text menu, you will see a text box for modifications. Alternatively, you can double-click a rectangle to edit its description directly. To add more objects, just use your left mouse button to draw a new rectangle. Then type in the description of what you want to appear. To remove an object you don't need, right-click in an empty area and click the cross button corresponding to that object. You can also duplicate existing objects. For text, draw a rectangle and select Text in the Type area. You can then describe the text you want and add style details. For example, specify if it should be bold, italicized, or use a particular font style. You can also convert existing objects into text elements or set unique colors for each object using the Colors option at the bottom. For now, I don't need separate colors, so I'll remove them. Now that our changes are made, to see the JSON prompt changes before sending it to the Ideogram model, run the preview as text node. Then if we scroll down, we can see that the new bbox values have been added to our JSON prompt. That finishes step 2. Let's move to the last step, generating the image. In this group, we won't look at every node, just the essentials. Here, we have the resolution and mode subgraph node, where we can configure our output resolution and mode of generation. Under the Resolution drop-down menu, you will find several recommended resolution presets. If you need a specific size, choose Custom Resolution and manually enter your desired width and height. For now, I will stick to a square resolution. Next, the Mode option. The default is 20 steps for standard quality. There is also a turbo mode for faster generation, which is actually quite decent. Also, there is a quality 40 steps for even better quality, which can be quite slow. So I'll stick to the default 20 steps. For the main CFG, we'll use 7.0 to ensure strong prompt adherence. However, using 7.0 for the entire generation can sometimes lead to quality issues. To fix this, we have a CFG override that decides when to switch to a lower CFG value, in my case, 3.0. When generation hits about 90%, it switches to 3.0. If you still notice quality issues, try reducing the start percentage to 0.6. Increasing the steps can also improve your output quality. That's it. Now, let's hit the Generate button and see the result. So, here we go. The generation is finished. Let's take a look. As you can see, we got a nice result. There are some minor issues, especially with the windows and the blanket, though the blanket issue can probably be ignored. Overall, it's a solid result. I won't waste your time showing another example, as I like to keep my videos concise. After several experiments, in my opinion, this model has a lot of potential. Regarding text rendering, My workflow can handle it, but I've found the model struggles with some tasks. I may need to develop a dedicated text rendering workflow. Also, keep in mind I'm using the FP8 model. A full precision model might produce even better quality. Remember that the publicly available model is under a non-commercial license, though you should check the terms regarding commercial use of the outputs yourself. Overall, it is a great model if you know how to craft effective JSON prompts. I really like the usage of bbox values for placement of elements, though it would be even more easier if we could use them with standard prompts. Before I sign off, the developer of the Ideogram 4 prompt builder KJ node is continuously adding features. While I was making this video, new options appeared, like a new import mode that lets you decide exactly when to import the JSON prompt. Rather than making a new video, I wanted to ensure you knew about it. Because we are working with such cutting-edge tools, you might notice some UI differences or minor bugs in your own environment. Don't worry, the core logic remains the same. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video.